Hello everyone. Welcome in. Let's get right into it. Let's get right into it today. I don't like it. I don't like what I saw today. I like some things, but largely the whole package in totality, not a fan. Not a fan of what happened today. This is a game we should have won. Philadelphia did not show up for this game. We should have put them to bed like they deserved. They were sleepy. You could see it in their eyes. They wanted to be put to bed. But we gave them a direct adrenaline shot straight to their heart instead. For free. For free. That was one of the most frustrating things I've seen in a long time. It reminds me of the 2019 Eastern Conference Championship game where Toronto just decided to launch some long balls in and it just happened to go in. Guys who typically never score, they just decided to show up that day and just save the game. Kai Wagner, this game did that. Just decided to show up and then randomly puts the ball in the back of the net like something he never does. So that was fun. That's just one of the random, unfortunate events that happened this game. And we'll get into all of them. That is even the most obnoxious one, the most egregious one. Philadelphia needed us to give them a lifeline in order to get anything out of this game, and we gave it to them for free. Mascara's hospital ball back completely untethered us, gave Philadelphia the momentum they needed to come back into the game. They weren't going to score. We said this last game against New York City. They weren't going to score either. We gifted them a goal then, and we gifted them a goal here too. This is the second game in a row where we have given a team that was unable to find the net by themselves a goal. In this game, it started a waterfall, but in the previous game, it was, Philadelphia, New York City really just couldn't get anything going at all. Philadelphia needed a kickstart, and we gave them an adrenaline shot straight to the heart. That was just unbelievable. Unbelievable, that pass. It's unfortunate. It happens sometimes. Not going to get super upset about Mascara, but, it happens, and it just... Unfortunately, we weren't able to capitalize on our advantage either after the second goal. We had chances. We had some really, really high percentage chances too. They just didn't go in. Saba's missed shot. Almada's missed shot. For whatever reason, every time Almada shot it, the ball was just magnetized to the goalie every single time. Which is, you'd expect Caleb Wiley's goal to, that's the DNA of an Almada goal, not Caleb Wiley scoring like that. But whatever reason it was, Almada just couldn't put it on, not the goalie target all game. So I could just keep going for a long time, but I'll let AJ come in and give a little bit from his perspective because he was at the game today. AJ, take it away.
Yeah, definitely. You know something about putting people to bed. As you are a father, so
yes, children. That's just children.
Yes, exactly. So you recognize when there are, there are people that are just begging to be put to bed, and yeah, Philly, I agree. They really should have been. They were not. We coughed up the lead. We did a lot of things pretty questionably after the 70th minute, but. Also, I think we lost focus because, the refs, I don't want to harp on refs, but, man, this was, they got a raise for this. That, what? Was the ball out? I didn't show a replay, but, the ball that was, pretty much on the line or pretty much probably out, I would say, because that's what most of the fans saw. I have a pretty direct view of the line.
This was K.O. Wiley's ball, right?
Well, so Philly, this was for the first goal for Philly, and then it was the hospital ball by Mosquera, and yeah, it's just that ball was out in my estimations and view, and so the first goal shouldn't even happened. It was from Philly. It was out. Shouldn't have been still in play, but instead, it's a complete strange back pass that just ends up where a Philly player is in acres of space and
passed right to their striker.
Yeah, right. And Guzan, nothing he could do about these two goals, I feel like, because they're not ultimately his fault.
No, definitely not.
He had some good saves this match, too. And, man, it's just as frustrating as a draw as it can get, I would think. But, we had a couple of really good goals in this match, too, though. Like you said, some golden chances. That Saba one where Mosquera, he skinned a couple players. Man, dang. Somehow they get a player in front of Saba to, just block that off. But
there's the one off the post too. That looked like it was in. I could not believe that bounced off the post. I just was like, this is not our day.
Well, it kind of looked like it was going to be our day initially, when especially when we have that many players out. This is a pretty spirited performance for the first 70 minutes.
Yeah,
I would say. But yeah, lapses in concentration, not only from the players, but also from the refs. That's utterly ridiculous that that second goal is allowed to happen. VAR can't check a throw-in like that, but the assistant referees absolutely should be checking for that. That's the main thing. That's the main play. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for a foul throw.
There's the famous picture circulating on the internet right now of the guy stepping over the line clearly, and then the referee staring right at it and just going, nope, good.
Yeah, and we as well have a foul throw called on us on Saba earlier in the match, and this one doesn't get called, and it's, numerous things. As well, you have Jose Martinez, who should have been probably sent off. You have just a number of instances where, wow, it's just like, is this pro referee organization going to police itself and get better? Because, there's just, it seems like a lack of accountability, and it's costing us points. It's straight up. What else can it be? That's just what it is. We should have gotten the 3 points today.
100%.
And going into the match, we did not think that would ever happen.
No.
Let's be real. This was a foregone conclusion of, okay, we're dropping points. How many? That's the question. I had a draw. I had a 2-2. So, I feel vindicated in some way that, I got the scoreline right, but still, I'm pissed. It's not, pissed from the referees, pissed on the defense a little bit as well, because still, you have to stay switched on. Foul throw or not, have to stay switched on. And, the Mosquera hospital ball is something that but from a non-defender, I think we can give him a little bit of a just, we're not going to rate him that hard. That's understandable to a degree. He's not usually playing defensive ball. And The I would say though, we gave Philly, I think, everything we could have as well. I mean, it's like Almada played a really good match. I feel like he, with the assist to Rios,
outside of his shot taking, yeah, he played a great game.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, a player being clinical is hard to quantify if they had a good game or not. If they're not a striker, like that's not his role. His role is to create and occasionally score. So he did his job tonight, and yeah, I mean,
yeah, we did. We definitely did enough to win. It's just unfortunate that we didn't see the heroics from Almada that we really needed to win, which is what I predicted in this game. If we were going to win this game, it was going to be through heroics, and that either that Saba goal or the two Saba possibilities, or Almada with that last shot. I mean, those would have been it. Those were it. Even Mo Adu said so on the thing. Like that was their heroic chance, and unfortunately, like I said, that ball was magnetized to the goalie tonight for Almada.
I mean, I disagree that. I mean, I always want us to win, but I don't think this was a must-win.
No, this was not a must-win. No, I don't think so.
No, at any point, really. But we do have some very tough fixtures coming up. So, in one sense, yeah, like all of them are where we need to get some points. And, okay, yeah, we got a point tonight. But, yeah, with FC Cincy coming up twice in a month, essentially, or more or less, the next, 4 fixtures, points are going to be hard to come by a little bit. So, we're on for a tough road ahead. And to drop points when we're up, yeah, it's super frustrating.
Yeah.
But, yeah, let's see what the people are saying in the chat. First of all, as well, shouts out to everybody who is in already. And for our Patreon people as well, much love to you.
Yep, absolutely. Brian Baird says, we have to stop these back passes that just hand a goal over to the other team after so much great defending. He also says, I agree with Mike. The only path to a win tonight was Thiago. So many others out. Jack Dickens says, Edwin, that pass for me cost us that game. Philly only get that second goal because with that back pass he gave them the belief. I'm really pissed at him. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it happens. It happens sometimes. It is not as if Mosquera wanted that to happen, obviously. Just wasn't switched on, wasn't really up to the speed of the game yet, probably, and mishit it. It happens, unfortunately. It just sucks that Philly made a meal of it. They took their one chance that was given to them. They buried it. Whereas they were doing, honestly, Philly underperformed 75% of that game. And they rightfully deserve to have been down 2-0. It was amazing how badly they did. I fully expected to get kind of bossed most of this game. Not maybe in terms of possession, because that's not how Philly plays, but just constantly getting hit on counterattacks and transition moments. That really didn't happen that much. Philly didn't seem super dangerous like they often are. And it's not as if they didn't have a lot of their firepower in. It was really, really weird. I mean, our defense performed above the expectation, and Philly underperformed their expectation, and that resulted in us having a fair 2-0 lead. And, I mean, you could even say our offense overperformed quite a bit, too, without, two key offensive pieces. I was very happy with the entire team's performance. Up until Mosquera's hospital ball. So, it was, I mean, it was all, I was about to, so on Discord, Terrafast, one of our members was telling me that Mike, you need to chug 2 beers if we win this game. Because I said there was no way we were going to get a win out of this game. and like he was showing the Stone Cold Steve Austin breaking the 2 beers together and drinking. I'm like, I will do that if we win, because I was over the moon at this point. I was like, this is amazing. I can't believe not only are we beating Philadelphia, we're looking convincing with a not our ideal starting 11. I was like flabbergasted. So I was like, sure, I'm on over the moon. Let's do this. Cloud 9. And then, of course, it all fell apart. So didn't have to do that, but I wish I did.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I would have actually loved to see you do that.
One day we will have an amazing thing for that. One day we'll have a good win, and then I'll be like, we'll do that. So
the question is, yeah, what beer would you do?
I had Miller Lights that were just sitting around, and I threw them into the freezer to get them ready, but you know. I just didn't, because I usually have like glass bottles, so I'm not going to obviously smash them together, but so.
Yeah. No hospital trips needed. Yeah, for sure. That's hilarious. Well, I mean, yeah. Let's read the chat a little bit, and let's bring our first guest.
Okay, so let's see if there's any other comments. Jack says, on the other hand, Amato was class, I thought, and Tristan. I agree with that completely. They were very good, working the ball, making themselves dangerous, going all over the place. Their heat maps were fantastic. Jax also said, I agree, Philly didn't even play good. That's what makes this more frustrating. Exactly. That's what's so frustrating. They don't deserve points. We gave them a point for free. It was completely unearned. Omar S. says, I'm going to put it on Pineda for not starting Mascara and then expect him to get up to speed in like 2 seconds. Philly really pounced on us from the left side. No blaming Mascara at all. It's like, I mean, it's
he deserves some of the blame, but it's not.
Yeah,
like,
I would say
again,
so.
I'm not going to ream him for it because, again, he wasn't in the game state.
Yeah.
But he should be ready. This is fair. He should be ready still, but it's still like he probably should have started over Wolf. I mean, Wolf I think maybe offers a little bit more defensively, so maybe that's the thinking. But boy, like it's a second straight appearance where he looks dire. Like it's. Can you hear me? But yeah, so.
Hold on 1 second, AJ. I got a phone call.
Oh, good. Yeah, Michael's got people he's got to report to. So, but hey, Michael, mute yourself. But okay, all right. But yeah. So I mean, yeah, Atlanta United with Mascara not starting with. Musket, it's definitely interesting. It's a choice. It's probably a more defensive choice, but it's a second straight appearance that Wolf does not really perform up to speed. You have to maybe give Musket the chance to essentially.
Sorry about that. I'm back.
He can be a possible starter. Yes, welcome back. So I mean, yeah, a possible talking point for if Silva is not ready for the next match is if Mascara can offer enough defensively. I mean both options on that left kind of were a little questionable tonight. So it's kind of what do you want? Do you want something a little bit more offensive, or do you want something a little bit more defensive? I think that's the question with Wolf or Mascara, but kind of did a portmanteau of both of them already.
Yeah.
But
it's a good word.
But yeah, right. But yeah, so it's it's a little bit of a black hole on that side, and it looked like Mascara when he obviously when he came on he was more on the right, and Saba was cutting in from the left and looked dangerous. He had some really direct moments where he was dribbling at players and got a shot from distance as well. I think he looked dangerous all match. And yeah, I think he's unlucky to not maybe get on the stat sheet a little bit. But as with Muyumba, Muyumba, he was pulling the strings tonight along with Almada. Like the combinations that they were playing, just really tasty stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's just like, because these players, like, I think Abram had a good match too.
He did.
I mean, I think he was heading a lot of the balls that's usually, man, it's like, don't think he would maybe get to most of them sometimes, but he was doing well. And Cobb had a pretty decent match as well defensively.
He had 2 moments where he went up for headers that twice against Carranza and was late, and Carranza made a meal out of it, and got them into a dangerous position for free kicks. So that was not ideal, and that's just because of inexperience. It'll happen, especially against a wily striker like Carranza. So it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, overall though, I mean, I don't think that aside, I don't think Noah had a bad game. I don't think anyone had a bad game. I think one of the goals from what came off of Mascara, I mean, there was things that led to it that I think were weird, that weren't our team's fault, and Mascara's hospital. I mean, that just happens sometimes. It's random. Like sometimes the ball just blip 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 doesn't work the way you want, and then there you go. It happens sometimes. It just sucks happening with us. I'm not going to blame Mascara so much for that. It's not that big of a deal. It just sucks. It just resulted in a goal for them. And then the second goal was just nonsense. So, I mean, I don't think anyone played particularly bad. I don't really think we went like, here's where we made a giant mistake because tactically we weren't sound or we shut off on defense or whatever. Now, if they scored that one goal that was called off, now then I could have said something like, that was a defensive lapse that we absolutely switched off for, that we deserve a goal from.
Because, we got sliced open on that one. Luckily, ultimately, the final ball, the player was offside. So, because there were some moments where it's like heart and mouth, where it's like, oh, jeez, what are we doing? It basically like 3 straight attacks, and they would have gotten in and scored. Like that pretty much like 10-minute spell from the 70th minute was bad. I think we were a little shell shocked because, I mean, partially sometimes when a call is that bad, like it just affects you, and so sometimes it's the good and bad of being at home when you hear the crowd and they're reacting, but when you're a player on the pitch, you kind of need to stay switched on, and it's still like, okay, play until the final whistle and play until a whistle happens, and then you can go over to the ref and say something.
Yeah.
But
all right, so we got our first guest on now. Gavin, welcome to the show. I'm sure you have a lot to say. Let's get right into it. Not waste any time.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm going to go in chronological order. So we started off this game, I guess we could expect it. It was just back and forth. We had good chances. We had solid chances at times. It was a 0-0 first half, like you saw it. But everything changed in the second half. Starting off with Rios' goal, amazing cross from Almada, and he looked good this game. He looked, if there was one game where he could definitely get his 2023 self back, it had to have been this game because he looked really well, and we look okay. Like, okay, we're in the lead. This is good. Let's see what else we can do. Then out of nothing, Caleb Wiley scores a thunderbolt, makes it 2-0. So now it's looking like, okay, well, it looks like we could win and heck, definitely not lose. And then, out of nothing, it was a terrible giveaway. It reminds me of Ibarra's giveaway against Chicago last season, and that one was scored and said there was late heroics. This time, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen every time. And they scored, and they went on to score the second goal. I don't feel like blaming the refs in this one, but that second goal shouldn't have counted. And yes, Jose Martinez probably should have been sent off, but I don't want to blame the refs for the reason why we didn't win this game. It's still unacceptable. We can't do this. We do this almost every season. There's always that kind of result where it also reminds me of the New England game where we had it, but then we choked away at the end. It's just every season there's that one game, and it's looking like this is the one this season, especially against Philly, which how heated it can get and all that. It's just of all the teams we could have done that to, it's so bad, and it just. Then we had, before they got their 2 goals, Almada had a chance, he didn't take it first time, and Saba had a chance where he curled it and it almost went in. I mean, he had 4 shots, none of them went on target for Saba. I mean, we could have made it 3 and that probably would have won it.
Yeah.
And we didn't, and so they came back, which Philly didn't deserve rat ass this game. They didn't deserve anything. We were the better team this game. I'm not going to say the full 90 because the end of the game was awful. And we almost scored again. Saba hit the post, and Almada took that in stoppage time first time, but it went right to the keeper, and nothing else we could do about it, and just terrible, frustrating result. But definitely thought we played a lot better than, I don't think anyone would have thought this is where the game would have went. Everyone's already saying that. But it's just the fact you had it. You did so well the entire game. And then it just happens until the 73rd minute. And then you just give Philly what they wanted. Okay, here you go. Just like last match. You gave them that penalty kick, and that's what didn't let us win. Because we could have won that game last week, and now we're lucky we didn't lose this one because their 3rd goal got called offside, too. It was just terrible, man.
Dude, we just call us like Santa Claus at this point. Christmas is coming early. We're giving out gifts left and right to every freaking team we play against. Away or home, it's so annoying. I don't want to see that for the rest of the season. No more gifts. Done. No more gifts.
Yep.
One thing you cannot do is have that giveaway. And then it happens. The one thing you cannot do. Screw up. And then it happens.
Yeah, because none of these teams were going to do anything. They were completely anemic. They were, the only way, New York City, like I said, was going to score last time is because we gave them a completely open net shot, basically, and Philadelphia the exact same way. So, and then obviously
Philadelphia to New York City, New York couldn't put anything on target. They could not score in open play at all. Philadelphia were just there to be there. They looked nowhere near as good as they have been all this season, and we just gave it right to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's also a level of that first half though, they did have probably some pretty good chances that, they were just in terms of their looks, they were good chances. They just couldn't put them away.
Yeah. We were good defensively. We stopped them. We did pretty good defensively, and which is.
Yep.
Awesome. I did not expect us to be this good defense. Abram had a great game with all of his sliding every which way. I didn't think that he was going to be able to make as much of an impact, but he absolutely did.
And on sliding tackles, Muyamba getting a yellow for a very clean tackle. Was it a little bit haphazard? I guess that's the reason why he got the card, but he got all ball and no player on that. So I don't understand.
Yeah, they dabbed up Curtin afterwards too.
Yeah, right. And it's so this is what I'm saying though. The refs affected this match, unfortunately, and I think you kind of take a little bit of the aggressiveness away from Muyamba when obviously you have a yellow.
Yeah, you slowed down one of our best players. That's so obnoxious for no reason. Again, so many calls for little to no reason this game, or missed calls, not having them at all.
So, but okay, on the positives, the goals were good, like you mentioned, Gavin. Did you have a man of the match?
I would say probably Tristan Muyumba looked good, and so did Almada. I saw their heat map; they looked good. Almada just because he set up that first goal and that's what had us going. And then we score a second goal, which is, I mean, the first goal is what fueled us, and then we got a second. So, but I think I just say Almada because this is probably the best game he's had this season, and his heat map was good, like I said, and was going, and he gave us the shot to take all three.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and on that, I mean, it's like, so, people have been taking umbrage that Almada has not been performing up to his levels this season, and they're saying, oh, he's want away, he looks like he wants to leave, and obviously that we're not Almada, so that could be what his mindset is, where it's creeping in a little bit, but I think it's a little bit of a lazy take when people are just thinking, yeah, oh, it's because he wants to leave, so he's underperforming. It's like, do you think a player would, okay, because they didn't get the move, they're now going to underperform and then, now not be able to get the move that they want? Like that, that seems like very asinine thinking. But yeah, what's your take on that, Gavin?
I'm sorry, what was the question? Or like,
what's your take on Almada and the criticism that he is want away, and that's why, majority of his performances this season have not been, something that I guess we would all say is his peak form.
Yeah, last couple of games he's not looked as good, but he's still he's still good. He like comparing him now, there's a pretty big difference. Like you don't see a lot, and I wouldn't say it's a message saying I want out. You should have sold me last window. I don't think it's that message. It's just, I don't know. Everyone has bad starts this season. Like no one can go like a season without not having a good start. And I think this game today was one where he could definitely do better go forward because he did pretty well this match. If we see the same against Cincinnati, I hope we do, because seeing them this week against Montreal, they lost that game. I think we can win that, but I think that game next week can definitely define if he's back or not, because we need. I want to see a Thiago Lazo. I want to see more of those good assists. I want to see more of it. But yeah, no one can go in a career without having a bad start to a season. So he's just been having one of those. I know I mentioned one episode, you asked me a question, does he get sold in the summer window? I'm thinking, yes, probably, but if it continues with how he's been looking for the past few matches, not including this one, then probably not if he trends down. But I still think he could definitely get sold with all the offers he's been getting. It's just, I don't want Atlanta to overprice it, and then we're going to have to look for a replacement eventually, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So.
Yeah, he's not doing a great job at making himself attractive right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, you definitely want to, put your best foot forward for that shop window. But it is also, his contract is ending at the end of 2025. So it's either this window or the winter window that is his best chance of probably being sold to probably, the team that he maybe wants to be, whichever that may be, or at least to an attractive team for him, for the rest of his career or his next stop. But because, well, yeah, if we have to lose Almada on a free or something, that would be horrendous in terms of management of players. Because let's be real, he's not going to sign another contract. Like, it's not going to happen. So, we definitely have to get the best of him this season, however long that may be. But so in terms of final thoughts on this match,
you pissed away the lead. You had it. I didn't think we'd get this far. We looked great. Man, it's just one of those matches where I do not want to watch the highlights. Like you'll be like, oh my god, we look so good, but then the end just is like, wait a minute, is that the same team that we've been watching, or did I actually click on a different video? Because I don't know, man.
Deja vu.
It's terrible.
Yep.
It's one of those games where I hate to look back at, and this is definitely one of those games this season. Like last season, I would say it was going to be the match because we had the comeback, but here we just looked. We're without Yakimakis. We're without two of our strikers, and Ray is probably one of the best backup strikers that we'll ever have. Because with what you had in the past, Kubo Torres, Adam John, all these other guys, nowhere near as good. Neros was okay, but Ray looked really good this season, and you without him, Yakimakis, and you're stuck with Daniel Rios, who is literally having his first start, and he gets that goal, but went on the choke, and it sucks. So, need to bounce back next week, and this disgusting taste in my mouth will go away.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
What's not disgusting is, you're a true man for being able to wear pink. So, definitely kudos to you.
I like pink. I'm going comfy today. I was trying to go comfy.
Is that a reference to my shorts earlier?
No. I saw that. No.
Yeah.
No, definitely not. I was actually out playing soccer at the fields earlier. That's why I was wearing this, because it's really hot outside. It's like 85 degrees outside, and it's really hot.
Cool.
I'm a guy who usually wears lots of black, and I don't want that heat absorbing into me. You know what I mean?
Of course.
But it's just one of those days. Yeah. Then I was in a rush home too, because I was like out there for a while as well, and I had no time to put a kit on. But
it's all good.
Not every game I'll wear.
It's all good. Next time you won't wear Inter Miami colors.
No, never.
Yeah, we just check on your back real fast. See if it's is that Messi on the back? No.
What's that? No. It's a shirt I got in Florida. I went to Universal on spring break. I went to Universal and I just got this shirt there. So.
Cool. All right, Gavin. Well, thanks for stopping by, bud.
Yeah, of course. It's the only pink shirt I got, by the way. So.
That's fine. I mean, like AJ said, it's perfectly fine to wear pink. There's nothing wrong with it. Wear it if you want.
All right, thank you guys. You guys have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. You too, bud.
You too, man.
See you later.
Thanks so much, as always.
All right, we're gonna have our next good friend, Bill Gluckman, up, which is, of course, as you all know, is a nom de plume pseudonym, not a real name, but a fake name for a fake person, but not a fake fan. So he's gonna give his opinion in a minute. While we were waiting for that, let me just read a little bit more of the chat. Should Guzan have done better on the first goal? Honest question. I don't know much about goalkeeping. Thank you for being honest, Brian Baird. That's fine. What is your take on that, AJ?
I think he was caught in no man's land, and so he was like in half minds to either come out to try to, boot it out or do something. But and at that point, his goal was to be as big as possible in front of goal, but then he had to backpedal. And then once he was backpedaling, he was toast. So, yeah, there wasn't much on him, I say, because it's just like it's not really where the percentages are in his favor, really. Anyway, like it was a pretty low percentage at that point because it was like a pretty much one-on-one. And one-on-ones, you don't give the keeper much of a chance. So it's I don't think, like I said at the top of the show, that like any of the goals were on Guzan. He had a really great goal line save. He had a good punch for one of their better chances. It just was not. I don't think like any of the blame could go to him for most of the goals this season. And
yeah, definitely.
Last season, different story.
Oh yeah.
Like he is overperforming so far, and may it continue.
Yeah. All right, Bill. Let us have it. What is your opinions on this game?
I don't know why you signed Dax McCarty if you're not bringing him on in that game for the final 30 minutes. We're going up and down with a team, and we need someone to control the tempo. And we bring on Firmino up top, who did nothing. But we have Dak sitting on the bench. His whole job here is to basically control games late. And so not bringing him on seems like a really bad mistake. And I don't know whether that's because he's not fit to go 30 minutes, but if he's not fit to go 30 minutes, that's really big trouble.
Yeah. So what do you think would be the steelman argument for why Dax wasn't chosen to come on?
I mean, I think Pinedo was pushing for more goals. But Wayumba was playing well going forward. Even Bartos was playing well going forward. So have another presence that holds. You don't have much other help you can bring off the bench defensively. I just think Dax makes that second goal a lot harder, right? That's a clearance where no one tracked a man who's wide open at the 18 off the header from Wiley. Like, I don't know that Dax gets there, but Dax is putting someone there. That's the whole role. If you're without your two center backs, so you don't have anyone organizing the defense, like, got to bring on the veteran at some point.
Yeah, and we definitely lacked organization, especially for that one goal that was luckily called off. Boy, did we look a little distressed and unorganized.
Yeah,
what do you? Go ahead.
Go for it. Sorry.
Yeah, well, on your point, it's like, what do you think the thinking was? Because obviously, it looked like we were maybe trying to go for a third, maybe, or something. And with a little bit more offensive substitutions. When previous matches we had played Almada up top as more of a false nine, and that would have maybe shored up the match a little bit more. But yeah, McCarty, like you said, nowhere to be seen, and really, it looked like we were still trying to actually score the third for the rest of the match. We didn't put on a more defensive player, and obviously we didn't really have the experience per se beyond McCarty. But yeah, I mean, it seemed like thinking wise, there were a lot of questions for it.
And I don't know what Dax's fitness is. Maybe 30 minutes is pushing what he can do, but if he can't give you 30 minutes, it's not a good sign for us not needing another midfielder.
Yeah, that is very weird if he can't do 30 minutes. Even at his age, I would expect him to be able to do 30 minutes. That's
and he's not
ludicrous.
On the injury report or anything. He should be fit. That should be that was a Dax game. That's why you signed Dax. I think going into the game, you should be happy with a 2-2 result. Watching the game should be infuriating.
Yeah. So I think, like, in terms of the mentality of the game, it really seemed like after we let them back into the game, we gifted them a goal. It seemed to break our mentality a little bit. The inexperience and the fragility kind of came out a bit. We started being unorganized. We started started chasing shadows a bit. The long balls just started coming, and our guys were just rushing to get back. And there was a couple of times. There was twice. I mean, the one goal obviously gets called off, but there was another time where Philadelphia had like 5 men in on goal. We had like 2 center backs that were like running like this and almost tripping over themselves to get back into position to do something. I was like, this is it. This is game over right here. Luckily, the guy who had the ball decided to thread the pass in the only area of space where there wasn't a Philadelphia player, which was hilarious. Because it's like, how do you miss the broadside of a barn? But luckily for us, he did. And so that exchange, a lot of the ones before, the one that gets called off, and then a couple before that too, just seemed like that goal completely discombobulated us, completely shocked our system. We weren't able to keep up and play the way we were playing before. Defensively stout, our midfield was doing really good, and our offense was clicking. And our offense still clicked a little bit at the end. We were having shots and opportunities. Tristan was still trying his best, albeit slowed down because of the yellow card. But it was, what does that say about the team's mentality? I mean, I know we have a lot of, Noah Caba's on there. We have a lot of depth pieces. So it's to be a bit expected that their mentality can crumble a bit. And then that lends to your point, maybe Dax could have staved a bit of that off. But, I mean, it really seemed like a whole system failure once that goal went in. It was like they were like, wait, no, this isn't our game anymore. The momentum completely switched, like black and white. It was just insane, the change. There's a question in there somewhere. If you're having trouble finding it, I can find it for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what happens when you have youth and inexperience, and you can't like. Auburn's made a ton of mistakes this year coming off the bench, but you bring a guy who's played for the Peruvian national team off the bench to stir up your defense with fresh legs. And that's very different than looking down the bench and having basically Morales as your only center back option, right? You don't have, I mean, Hernandez is okay, but you can't bring him like for like on for Cobb or even Abram. So you've got, a pretty big hole in your team when you're without your two starting center backs. So to me, it seemed like you needed someone out there in the middle with a veteran presence. I don't, that's not going to be any of the four guys charged with it. It's not going to be Mayumba. It's not going to be Bartaz. It's not going to be Cobb, and it's not going to be Abram. So if it's not Dax, if you're not going to have Williams, you're not going to have Stian, you're not going to have Dax, you're going to struggle to close out games with that group. So you have to adjust. That game was begging for an adjustment. It was begging to bring Saba towards the middle, put Almada on one wing, let Mayumba get a little bit more freedom, and then play with Dax sitting really tight in front of the group, and then stop stretching the game fully. You stretch the game to get opportunities, which is great. Saba hit the post on one. You were getting them, but up 2 goals, you don't need to stretch the game. You need to be a little bit more conservative, make them come out of their shell, make them come to you. Then you can counter with 3 guys. And, Saba, Mascara, and Almada are a dangerous trio. You don't need to send more. I mean, you're getting great chances off just that. It seemed like Pineda did not adjust. He said, okay, we've made our stamp on this game. Let's continue to do it. This is about to be 4 or 5-0. When in reality, you let it, one of the best teams in the league back into the game. And you dropped 2 points you could have had and really stolen given who was available.
I mean, if Almada's goal goes in, or if Saba's goal goes in, one of his 2 chances he had there, I don't think Philly continues with the full head of steam that they got, and I think everyone goes like, this was the right idea. So is that more on the players and less on the coach at that point?
Mixed bag. I don't know. I don't know what was told, but I think, to me, if you're throwing out a really young midfield with a very young center back, a young left back, at some point, someone over the age of 30 needs to step in on the field and organize them. And that's just that's a coaching mistake, I think. Players are the ones who are tasked to execute. And I think our offensively, we executed. We got good chances. We got goals. We hit the bar. We played offensively. Defensively, we were okay. We just couldn't counter. And so you had a bunch of gaping holes because you were pushing every midfielder up. Bartaz and Mayumba were up towards the end of the game, even when you're up a goal. It just doesn't make sense to me that you wouldn't be just semi-reserved there. You don't even have to go fully reserved. Just put on someone to sit and give Abram and Cobb some help, because they looked out of it by the end of the game. That's
so
what's going to happen.
Is this an example of Pineda having too much faith in his team, overestimating his team? And does he think they will find that goal? I keep flying forward. We're going to find that goal. We don't have to. Or did he just not respect Philadelphia enough?
Yeah, I think it's the reverse. I think Pineda frequently doesn't care who the opposition is. He plays the exact same way. He plays the way against a wounded Chicago, New England. He'll play that way against every single team, away or at home. He's going to do, this game there's limited. He probably would have brought on a 3rd center back at some point. You can't because you don't have one. But he always is going for it. We are never kind of playing to what the opposition is. We are playing our game and saying, okay, we can do that. And that just is a tough thing to do in this league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you just don't have the depth of players to be able to continue to play the same way and also solve problems, which, that's the thing is what you're mentioning is a player that could have solved problems, but I mean, you make a great point, is that his way of usually solving problems at the end of matches is to bring out another center back. And I mean, that's probably maybe why he was a little torn this match. Okay, well, we'll just continue to push and not really, figure out the actual way to actually, get the 3 points, which I think that's Pineda in a microcosm. that's just his entire tenure here has been this. Like we drop points when we shouldn't. We can't win on the road, and yeah, I mean, we look like when we just crush teams, it gives him that out. It gives him that little bit of a that okay, yeah, he's he's a good enough coach. But I mean, I don't know if you saw, and I assume you did probably, Clement Diop's, what he wrote on a question on IG story, and he called Pineda an average coach. And yeah, I'm curious what your thoughts on it.
I think that's probably fair. I think he has a setup he wants to play, but good coaches adjust, adapt, and figure it out. We don't. And so this year that might be okay. This is the first year. If we're fully fit, we can play however we want against every team and have a legitimate shot to win. But injuries pile up and you can't. And you have to adjust and you have to figure it out. Because in the MLS, the next guy up might be, 16. He might be, making $64,000 a year or something. Like, not everyone walking up is Almada. Not everyone is GG. Not everyone is even Jamal. Like, the backups drop off quick. And we saw Firmino is still a ways away from being able to fill in that gap. Like, you have to adjust and you have to figure it out. And so maybe there's something there, and either his motivation is good or his tactics are good, but he just doesn't know that adjustment, and he needs someone else to tell him to change. And I think even, if you go back to 2018, like, it took Tata forever to ever change. And we went in, we got drilled by New York, and we got drilled by Toronto to lose the Shield. And then we turned around and he said, I'll just adjust how we play a little bit, and you get a cup. So, adjusting how you play, playing smarter when you need to, sitting back a little bit, letting the game come to you is fine. You don't have to be on the front foot the whole time. You can be, but you're going to get burnt, and you're going to get burnt especially when you don't have your two center backs healthy.
Yeah. You got stretched too much. Yeah, final thoughts on this match?
Overall, Philadelphia at home, missing 4 starters and one of the backups for them. I think I'd take a point going in. Watching them play, I think there's a lot of confidence to build off of. Hopefully they shake off the ending. But to me, yeah, that's a disappointing draw. But without 4 starters, we just went toe-to-toe with the best team in the East. And we had them beat until we fumbled it away at the end.
Yeah, until we gave them a tie. How nice are we? Like, how generous.
What a through ball.
Yeah, what a through ball. Yeah, just like... I mean, they couldn't even find their striker as well as we found him. So, what are you gonna do?
It's just a really bad pass.
Yeah, it was very good. So, all right, Bill, thanks for coming on. Thanks for giving us your 2 cents. And
thanks,
we'll talk to you later.
All right.
Have a great night, man.
All right, let's see some of the chats in YouTube. Hit us up with some of your comments, questions, or compliments. Not begging, just asking. Gavin says, we better not be blaming Guzan on the loss. Not a thing he could have done to change the result. Let's see. Gavin also says, you had a great finish, and no keeper will stop Wagner's shot. I mean, it's just, again, I'm so frustrated that a guy like Wagner comes out of like a worldie like that out of nowhere. This guy never hits these shots, and then he just, here I am, where it's needed to annoy Atlanta. So then Bryson says, checking in late. What's up, boys? How you doing, Bryson? He says, usually I'm not on AJ's side with criticisms of the fans, but today we did not show out. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't show out. But yeah, before we talk about the fans, yeah, the Kai Wagner strike, I mean, that thing was curling away from Guzan. Like, he had no chance whatsoever. It was on the defense before that, completely, because...
But no one thinks Kai Wagner is going to score that, so they don't step to him.
It's true, but still, if a player's in the box, you got to step to him. It doesn't matter who it is. Like, these players are professionals. If you get a chance in the box, yeah, there's a decent chance. So, but yeah, as far as the fans, yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of a dead atmosphere. It's not the worst, but yeah, it definitely wasn't filled. It was a little bit where, yeah, I mean, empty spots pretty much peppered everywhere. And I get it. There's the Masters, there's whatever else. It's a beautiful day in some senses. So people are going to, they're going to be out. And, a day out at the, at Atl Utd when we're, 5 players injured from the 11 essentially. Yeah. Like it's a little bit kind of dampened in terms of maybe ultimate excitement. So there is that. And, there's spring break, all that. You can throw out all the reasons why maybe the fans weren't there today. But the ones that were in the stadium, we need to be louder. And we're just not lately. I mean, it's not bad, but it is like we're relying on the drums. We're relying on the HBCU drum corps to create the noise for us. And I'm gonna be honest, there were some British people in front of me that I think this was their first Atl Utd match. They were trying to create their own Braguzan chants, and there was somebody that kind of told them, "Oh, hey, the chant for Braguzan is actually this. He's big, he's tall, etc., etc." But yeah, I mean, I think there's something about the spontaneity that British fans and some other fans around the world can create within the atmosphere of a match, where unfortunately with kind of MLS, it just seems a little bit more where it's like everything's pre-planned and
canned.
You can't canned, exactly. And in terms of that spontaneity to actually come up with something that just happened in the match or something, and just kind of like the ready to go type of like melodies that you can kind of sing.
We're just not a musical people, AJ. No, I'm kidding.
I guess maybe. I mean, well, some of the best music in the world comes from us. So
I know.
It's that.
So we need more rappers in the stadium coming up on the fly with lyrics and rhythm.
I guess, but or just yeah.
Or drunk British people, same thing, right?
Exactly. That's what it is. British people very good at banter. It's just something that's the truth, and that's kind of part of it. But.
All right, so we are going to welcome one of our is a first time coming in. This is Jack. Jack, welcome to the show. Let me just get you the correct nameplate here before I transition to your screen. Jack, welcome. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing very good. Unfortunately, could be better because of the the loss and everything. But the tie. It feels like a loss. So, but yeah, tell us, what do you think about the game?
It was all going well until that horrific pass, man. I mean, that was not good. The first thing I really ask is, who's the leader on the team? Because after a pass like that, and it kind of disastrous, someone has to step up and rally the group, be like, hey, we're still up in this game. No need to fluster or anything like that. So it's also confusing in that way. But also with Pinedo, why are you continuing to push this team forward? You have the win right there in your hands. You don't need to do that. Hang them back. So it's just it's things like that that's really confusing, because it almost seemed like we were playing like we were a goal down.
Yeah.
Instead of being up.
Yeah, we were definitely, swords were out, and we were trying to put them to sleep, and we just couldn't, and we let them back into the game.
Yeah, the urgency doesn't need to be always turned up every single minute of the match. So yeah, it's a great point, is that You know, we don't need to be on the front foot every bit of the match when we are in control. We had control at that time, and instead we make the substitutions, which are probably pre-planned, but it pretty much undoes us a little bit. But yeah, I feel like you have some other thoughts. So
Yeah, I feel like it's just Pineda's almost not willing to win in like the, how do I say it? It's like it's almost like he's not willing to win in like the unpretty way. Like we
Yeah.
always want to win the pretty way and have this big huge statement. And I remember this team in 2018, that game in Minnesota, where we just somehow found a goal. And it was not pretty, but we got the job done, and that team went on to win the championship months later because they knew how to win when things weren't going right, knew how to win when you had to be scrappy, and I don't see that in this team.
It's bizarre because like we apparently don't know how to win when everything's going right. Like that's what I see. Like this game was like it's everything. Everyone's in the palm of our hand, and we snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yeah, and
Even though it was a tie, I know it was a tie.
Yeah, it feels like a loss.
Exactly.
I know it does. But the person before me was talking about like we don't have any veteran presence. I mean, Abram's 28, Muyumba's in that same range, Bartos 25. I mean, these guys get their start at 18 in the first teams. Like, at the very minimum, these guys are playing at least 7 years already. So you should be able to coach the young guys and just keep our heads in the game. So
That's a good point.
Honestly,
That's a good point. I don't know why we had such a what seemed like defensive and midfield breakdown after the goal. It was like we have people there who should be wise enough to see where things are going, how Philadelphia has shifted and decided to play, and how to respond to it effectively. But for whatever reason, we multiple times, at least 3, got caught with our pants down, and we're lucky Philadelphia didn't do much worse with us. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you know, you ask who's the leader, right? I mean, obviously the guys like Gigi and Zande are kind of big, what are they, like charismatic leaders. So those guys definitely are missing. You can tell that. Thiago is not very much, in my estimation, a vocal, charismatic leader, but he speaks with his feet. So there's that. That doesn't translate to everyone, though. You do have some, like you said, veteran presences other places of the field, but for whatever reason, I don't know if they have the charisma. They're missing the Riz, maybe. I mean, Tristan, I feel like, has plenty of it, but for whatever reason, I don't know. That was a calamity of a collapse, and that should not happen with the decent players we had trying to fortify in those positions. I was like, is this a team of 16-year-olds in the back after, you know, Almada? It was weird. I don't know how to explain that.
And it's great points. I think it's this counterpoint to that is that, well, there wasn't much continuity because we had just made the substitutions, and most of these players, at least together as a unit, have not played together in the sense that they know where each other will be.
Those were offensive substitutes, not defensive or midfield substitutes.
But yes, it's still Noah Cobb, Abram are not.
Yeah, but they were doing fine the whole game. Why did all of a sudden?
Yes,
you know.
But you can upset the apple cart when a bad apple. I mean, this is harsh, but not calling anybody specifically a bad apple, but there is where you can upset the apple cart when there is a bad apple in there, right? So, you're only as strong as your weakest link, and when you bring in a player that is not up to game speed, well then, this can happen, and it did happen. And that's, I think, to play devil's advocate, probably a factor into how this happened. Because, yeah, do we see Mosquera play those type of balls all the time? No. Like, if he did, he wouldn't be in the team, you know? And so it's, you know, you have these happenstances that do happen when, you know, you don't have players that are fully kind of just integrated into each other with continuity. And Firmino up top, we haven't seen him, you know, with the rest of the team, nor, you know, really ever for us on the first team. So you have that, and then Mosquera being on the right and Saba on the left. Like, I think that's the first time that's happened this season. So, yeah, I mean, it's a new look that, you know, unfortunately, really unsettled the team.
Yeah, I guess that had a lot to do with it. So, Jack, what was, besides, you know, the problems and the bad things that we saw in this game, what were some of the things that made you smile?
Kazan finally has a really, really good game, in my opinion. His passes were good. He makes a huge save to, you know, keep us up 2-0, and I think what was that, like right at the end of the first half? If that happens, I'm really, really, really impressed with Noah Cobb. I think when Williams and others get back, I think he could potentially push those guys and kind of push for that starting spot, possibly. Yeah. Tyler Wolf, man, I don't know about him. He seems to, every once in a while, he comes up with a big moment, but other than that, he's kind of almost not there.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's a depth piece, and unfortunately seems to be cemented in that a bit. Yeah, if he starts and when he comes on, it's always like a we'll see. It's never like a good, right, here we go, like Mosquera coming on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's because Tyler Wolf, as maybe compared to Edwin Mosquera, Mosquera has his pace, and you know, you can find that bit of space to be able to put it across and have that final ball. Well, Tyler Wolf doesn't really help you in the build-up, unfortunately. And yeah, he may be a little bit more aggressive defensively, but he can get a little out of control and indisciplined. But I think the thing that Wolf brings you is something in the final third in terms of scoring when you kind of least expect it. And you know, he's a good poacher of the ball in that sense. But yeah, I mean, it's just like when we have to start him, we see his deficiencies. We see how it's just yeah, he has a lot to work on in this game to be able to get to someone that we can trust. And, you know, clearly the past two matches, it's like,
and it hasn't happened yet. I'm, you know, a little credulous to think it eventually will. Jack, one last question for you before we let you go. What did you think of the refs this game?
The refs, they're terrible as always. It's CONCACAF. I mean, it cost us the match with the clear overstep. I was like, didn't he like overstep the thing there? Pretty sure he did. But no, it's CONCACAF. Can't do much about that.
Or yeah, pro referees, but yeah, the point is the same. Yeah, it's just dire. How they got a raise is beyond me. But you know, we're not here to count people's money. But it is yeah, you know, it is definitely something that affected the game. But yeah, well, final thoughts on this match.
It's a tale of two halves. You played great the first half. One mistake unravels the whole team in the second half. Have to do better. Have to find a leader. Pineda has to learn. I know he's a recent coach. He's got to learn. Is he the right coach? Probably not, but no one.
It's fair points.
Yeah. Well, yep. definitely great to speak with you for the first time, and yeah, you're welcome back anytime, and have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, appreciate it, Jack.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Absolutely.
All right, so we are now moving on to the second to last part of this. Does AJ have any final thoughts on the game?
I think there's another great point in there that I was going to mention, but then I was going to save it for this, and then I forgot. So, but yeah, I mean, this is that type of match where hopefully we can still build on it. I think there's things that we can build on. Obviously, the fact that we, for 70 minutes, played pretty damn well. Unfortunately, yeah, the adjustments were not made, and we couldn't see out the 3 points. So hopefully, this is the thing. This is the biggest thing that we don't seem to be able to make those learning moments stick. Is that okay? Well, why didn't we get the 3 points in this match? Because I'm already hearing the talk from Pineda, like I saw it from the press conference, that yeah, he said there were lapses in concentration. Well, it's also,
he says that all the time.
I think exactly. It's beyond that. It's not just on the players, losing concentration. It's the choices that are made before the match and during the match that pretty much like he's in control of. And it's not good enough. It's generally and usually not good enough. And I mean, it's just okay. We can continue to deal with this. It's an elephant in the room almost at this point. Like, yeah, even Clement Diop knows that it's not good enough.
Yeah, but I'm not sure I rate his opinion about coaches. But
I mean, fair. But I think we've seen from his time in MLS so far that Pineda, I mean, yeah, it's average.
Yeah, I mean, he is an average coach for sure. I mean, ask almost any coach, almost anywhere. Can you, drive a Ferrari like a Ferrari? Can you just throw everyone forward in high press and, tell people to just really go after second balls and, force the other team to cough up in counter press? I feel like every coach can do that. It's not that hard, I think. To do it well, though, is another thing. However, just throw in the kitchen sink, I don't think is like some kind of hyper-wise tactic that's, just only the most cerebral of coaches can come up with. But I think what we're getting at is that being able to be multifaceted is what a cerebral coach is capable of. And we believe Pineda to be cerebral. And I've posed this question in the past, like, I don't think he's a dumb guy. I think he's absolutely capable of having multiple strategies or how to deploy a team in multiple ways and to adjust it mid-game if necessary. Maybe there's something else that's keeping him from doing that because it's not his intelligence.
Yeah, maybe it's stubbornness. Maybe it's kind of unwillingness to stray from his ideals. In which case, yeah, I mean, there is an aspect of it where we almost refuse to play defensively at times when sometimes the situation calls for it, but we don't do it. And I think there's more than one way to be able to play throughout a match, but if we're just always pushing the gas pedal, you gotta hit the brakes sometimes. You gotta preserve a little bit of the energy. And yeah, I mean, I think we've seen that it is left to be desired at times. So yeah, let's get into the chat.
Let's see what we got. Get your last questions and comments in before we head on to the wheel portion of the show. Jack says, I'm so close to the screen, good lord. Yeah, that happens to everyone. He also says, Pineda's excuses are on Pineda as a coach. If the players are losing focus, then that's on the coach to keep these guys engaged. It's definitely part of it. I agree. That's, I believe, also a player thing. It's on both of them, in my opinion. And Chris James came in hot with the comment, "That was some bullshit." Now that is kind of how I felt coming into this stream. That was some bullshit. So, man, let me see. I'm gonna do my kind of final thoughts now, I guess. We can't do this anymore. We cannot do this gifting goals nonsense anymore. No more gifts, no more handouts. When you come to the Bens, and when we play them away, I mean, I'm a little bit more, like, I wasn't as livid in the New York City game because we were playing away, and I kind of chalked that game up to probably not going to win it. So I was happy with the draw. And this, I'm not happy with it. Regardless, I don't want to see, I would rather lose than this gifting goal nonsense. It's just ridiculous. Like,
Wow.
just get beat if you're going to lose or tie. Like, I don't know why. It's like Atlanta's like, we're just so good, we feel like we have to give every team we play a 1-goal buffer. Because either that, it just won't be interesting anymore. Like, that's how it feels. It's just like, why? Why are we consistently giving away free goals? It should not happen. So that's point number one. Point number two, I think this was a good game overall in terms of the team's mentality. We, like you said, came into this game with a significant amount of players, starters not there, and we did well. We bossed Philadelphia, a good team, really well. They look like a shell of their former selves coming into here. So, and outside of Mosquera's ridiculous pass, which was not a product of Philadelphia playing well, we probably see this game out 2-3-0 pretty easy. I don't think Philadelphia gains any momentum if we don't give them that goal and they don't continue on. Maybe they squeak one in at the very end because of luck, but for the most part, I just don't see the way things transpired after that second goal unless we give them that goal like we did. So, I think, outside of a absolute like 1 in 100,000 type of errant passes that results in a Philadelphia in on goal, easy goal, I think that, whatever we did was good enough to beat Philadelphia at home pretty convincingly. And I'm happy about that, and we shouldn't let that, this result blind us to that fact. If we play like this against other teams, I think we win because Mosquera's not going to do that again.
Yeah, I think he's going to learn the lesson there. That hopefully is true. But yeah,
I mean, just statistically, he's not going to do it again.
Right. But I think, will Pineda adjust and learn?
I don't think he's going to need to. I don't think he needs to. Again, if Mosquera didn't do that, it's not like Pineda's plan required or, had Mosquera's kick baked into it. So,
I mean, yes, but I think these, planned substitutions, that have been the case, especially with, Tiare as well, last match. Was it last match? No, the 2 matches before that. It's like, okay, I understand why you are subbing them out at this point, but there's also a little bit of this game state that okay, maybe picking the occasion, picking the time in the match. It's like TR scores, he's taken off. Rio scores, he's taken off. It's like, psychologically, I think it does something to the team a little bit. It's like, oh, well, okay, well, now we gotta really figure out with this new unit, how we're gonna see how this match. And, while that should be able to be done, life comes at you fast. And clearly it did. Especially when the ball was questionably out. And everybody in the stadium, anyway, was at least, yelling at the refs to do something about it. Instead, the play continues. Hospital ball, goal scored, shell shock. So, it all plays in together. But let's get into the wheel.
All right. So this week somehow OBS has decided to bless me with a working transition function. So that's nice. So we will see what we get this week, either between me or AJ, and AJ will have his forfeits come due hopefully by next week. they're starting to mount up, and if he's not careful, they may start fusing together, and then they'll become like a Megatron of or like a Megazord of forfeits all in one.
Yeah, they might be shoot, like what's an even better one? Oh man, I can't. I had it in my head.
What's better than Megazord? That's a pretty good analogy.
I know it was, but I think I had to. Oh well, yeah. There we go. The Dragon Ball Z fusion of.
Oh right.
Apropos. There we go.
There you go. So we got Soccer Skills Challenge, Spicy Challenge, Dressing Up for the Stream, Dance, Video, and Yoda Voice for 5 minutes. That last one being a Patreon chosen selection. So if you want to put one of these interesting, I'll say, as euphemistically as possible, choices on the wheel, please become a Patreon and you will have a vote in what we put on this wheel. So let's see what we get this week. For me, by the way, it landed on me, AJ. I forgot to mention that. And it's dance video. So you have a dance video you got to do, and I have one too. We might do a joint one. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I've got ideas. I was initially going to maybe get you to be involved in that one originally anyway. So okay. Well.
All right, and if you guys have any ideas for dances, this is kind of a left up to your interpretation. What do you want to see? Is it TikTok dances? Is it some kind of dance that whatever it may be, throw it out. A dance-off, Elliot Beaven says. That is pretty interesting. I don't know. I do have breakdance battle experience. I don't know if AJ does. So that might be a bit of a one-sided match. We'll see what we come up with and what you guys suggest. Let's see. Some of the chats are saying, Chris James says, dude, Wolf seems clueless at the moment. Unfortunately, he kind of does. Elliot Beaven says, hey, how you doing, Elliot? Gavin says, our media team had the best opportunity in the world to post some fire, especially against Philly. Yeah, I mean, they have been on fire. Our media team's been doing very good. They definitely got an overhaul, it seems like, this year. Elliot also says, Atlanta finding quality backup strikers this season. I know! It's insane. It's great. I feel like it's been forever, but we finally have guys who are consistently scoring. And it's not Gigi. It's pretty good, and it's getting us some points, so I'm happy about that. Getting draws without our star striker, that feels like a long, like a big ask, and we're doing it, so I'm happy overall. Lightning 0491, aka Drew, says, I feel like I'm to blame. I turned it off. It was 2-0. The next time I checked, it was 2-2. Yes, that's right. We're going to have to physically restrain you from turning it off next time. So be expecting that.
Orange you to be watching these games in the future.
That's right. You can expect AJ at your house during that. Gavin also says, Drew, how could you? Chris says, I don't blame Pineda at all. Rios was not in shape. We simply should have seen this match out. One mistake, one goal, 2-2 draw in the end. It's what I was expecting. Let's not, miss this or forget. Coming into this game, I thought we were going to lose, first of all. I was going to be happy with a draw, and I thought a win was near impossible with what we were going to put out there. I was wildly impressed with how we played, considering we didn't have a lot of our starters, and knowing how good Philly currently is. And us getting those 2 goals, getting ahead, and then losing it with just bonehead plays and questionable reffing, just losing it in a very frustrating fashion. It was you started from down low expectations, then it rose up, then it went all the way down again, and then it came back up with our 3 chances in the back, and then it went down again with the 5-man rush against our 2 CBs at the very end. It just was up and down roller coaster of a game. At the end of the day, didn't expect to get much, if anything, from this game. I'm happy with a point. We need our starters. You need DPs on the field consistently to be in the Shield and Cup running. It's just what it is in this league, and we just don't over and over again. So it's gonna be tough until they get back. GG, I hear, is close, so hopefully that's sooner than later. Elliot Bevan says, like I said, dance off, and Gavin said, Mike, you already have a dance video on Instagram. That's true. If you follow me on Instagram, you will see a dance video I put together that is part of a catalog of series of videos I'm doing to embarrass my children when they're older. So, AJ, if you have anything else, that will probably be about it for us.
No, I think that's a great stopping point. Is imagining you dancing to embarrass your children.
That is my lifeblood. That is my motivator. It's why I get up in the morning.
Yep, love it. So yeah, all right. Well, guys, everyone, thank you so much for hanging out. Yeah, going through this therapy because we definitely needed it a little bit. But yeah, everyone, have a great rest of your nights. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. That's Michael. I'm AJ. We will see you in the next video. Good night.